Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Rose to Row in Astrology. I am your host, Mel Rose, and today is Friday, November 1, 2024. Welcome to the fall, y'all. This is the center of it. We are at Samhain, Lunar Samhain today, in fact, with that new moon in Scorpio. So this is the midpoint between the fall equinox and winter solstice. This is the point in the year where we are starting to face the longer, colder nights, especially here in the northern hemisphere. In the southern hemisphere, they're moving on into spring and summer. So how fortunate for them! But here in the northern hemisphere, these last 2 days, Halloween, right here around Samhain, this is a time when we celebrate the fact that the winter is coming, and so it's time to think about being prepared for that. It's also sort of a turning within, like as we're sort of turning to go indoors because it's a little colder outside, it's a little less hospitable for us to be out there playing and working and doing all of that fun stuff. Then we also start to turn within, personally, on a personal level, to navel gaze a little bit, to check our hearts and minds and see how we're doing in here. And especially Sun in Scorpio. And today the moon is also in Scorpio, brand new moon. This is the day for turning within and reflecting. This is the day for, noticing what we have put behind us, because we've been doing a lot of putting things behind us lately, right? Noticing what we have put behind us, noticing what is in the past, even noticing what's happened over the past year or so, right? And all the things that we have gotten through, okay? And then for this new moon, especially for any new moon, but especially this new moon, because the new moon in Scorpio is like the new moon of the year, as far as I can tell, because we are heading into this darkest part of the year. This is really the time to come back to ourselves, to notice exactly who we are, where we are, what we have, right? What it is that we've accomplished, what we have yet to do, but literally, materially what we have, and in terms of our connections and relationships, what we have, where things stand for us right now, and reflecting on that, then we can finalize letting go of things, and we can begin again to imagine, imagine, and create what it is that our future is going to look like for ourselves. So this is Lunar Samhain. This is a really good time to do that reflection, that new moon in Scorpio. Beautiful day for it. And I got to tell you, we've got some stuff going on this weekend. It's a very busy weekend, astrologically speaking. So I just want to remind you, when it's busy astrologically, when there's a lot of basically vibes being thrown around, when there's conflict, when there's a little bit of struggle, because we've got this Mars opposite Pluto with us, and it's going to be with us until late January. Okay, so we've got this Mars opposition to Pluto going on, and that's bringing about a lot of conflict or potential for conflict in the world. All you got to do is look at the news to see what I'm talking about. And I hope that that's not the case in your personal lives. But, if it is, just understand that there is this underlying vibration of sort of assertiveness, and the kind of assertiveness that brings around like really powerful, meaningful change. And sometimes that can translate into actual conflict, like actual warlike behavior, actual fighting among people. Okay, so this is an underlying vibration for us right now. However, on the chart today, we have some really positive things going on. We have a grand trine, which is protection, and I believe it's in water signs today. So, I want to remind you that your intuition is a protective factor that you have in your life. Listening to what your spidey senses tell you, if it's time to get up and go, even if you don't have to leave for another 5 minutes. If you feel like it's time to get up and go, maybe it's just time to get ready and get out the door, right? Just make sure you have everything you need with you and move on. Or, if it's time to settle down, or if it's time to sort through some things and, sort of figure out what's what, whatever it is that your intuition is telling you, whatever questions your intuition gives you to ask, go ahead and take action on that. Okay. Don't be in conflict with yourself about what the answers might be, or about the work that it's going to take to get what you to get where you're going or get what you need. Okay. Don't be in conflict with yourself about like what the schedule says. Okay. Just listen to your intuition, trust your gut at this time. It is very much a protective factor for you, right? And in addition to that grand trine, on the end of it, we have another little triangle that makes a kite formation. Kite formation is like really an opportunity to use that intuitive protection to take flight on something. And with Pluto at the apex of that kite, it is to take flight on, again, those things that we're reflecting on deeply, right? To take flight on things that that represent transformation for us, to take flight on things that maybe are more underneath and behind what it is that we normally call our sense of purpose. Okay, so motivations, right? What motivates us? We really want to be reflecting on that right now. We really want to understand what our deepest motivations are for the things that we do right now, because it's going to help us take off. Okay, it's gonna help us get some movement forward in our lives, to make some progress. And then additionally, on the chart today, there's this other shape that it's like a cradle, and it's very, again, it's protective, it's protection, but it also sort of acts like a mirror. So there's an opposition there, and it's the same opposition. It's that Mars opposite Pluto. And I do want to point out that Mars and Pluto both rule our sun and our new moon today. Okay, so this is an important conversation about assertiveness, about transformation, about the motivations behind those things, about the stuff that is underneath and behind, the stuff you don't normally look at. So it is an appropriate time to be doing sort of a deep dive on our motivations and the things that we don't normally give our time, our thought, our consideration to. Okay. Especially because we've got that trine, we're very protected, we can listen to ourselves. And then we've got that cradle thing, which, really, it's sort of like when people come at us, we can be a mirror to them and reflect it back. Okay, so it's almost like, the extent to which you act on me, you will be acted upon, and I don't have to do anything about it. Okay, it's that kind of thing. So when people see that sort of mirror held up, when they come to you, especially with some sort of conflict or trouble situation, you can hold up a mirror to them and you can say, okay, well, your assertiveness toward me is just going back toward you, right? If people are being assertive with you, you can hold up that mirror and say, okay, but you're harming yourself as much as you're trying to harm me. Okay. Or if people aren't trying to harm you, but they simply have questions for you that, are legitimate. Sometimes we take those questions as harmful or as an intent to harm. Let's not take those questions as an intent to harm. Let's take those questions and answer them as honestly as possible, because again, that holds up a mirror to them to see, like, what part is yours and what part is mine, right? Okay, so again, the deep dive today, the deep dive is this weekend, but also, I really encourage you to stay, if you use the new moon like I do, to do some sort of meditative, maybe ritualizing of that spaciousness that we need, that sort of clean slate feeling that we need with the new moon, and especially this new moon in Scorpio on Lunar Samhain. With Mars opposing Pluto, this is very tense energy. I really encourage you, with the activity over the next 2 days, just to stay in as peaceful and grounded a sense of self as you can. Okay, stay reflective, stay quiet if you can, stay taking your deep breaths. Okay, so that over the next couple days, with all this activity that's coming up in the sky, we don't get spun out and really sort of lose our way in these complicated situations, complex relationships, and sort of complex thoughts and feelings about what's going on around us, right? So I'm just going to check my microphone to see if it's on, because I lost a recording the other day when my microphone shut off about 3 minutes into the video. It was beautiful that way. So just checking, and it's still on, so I know you can still hear me. So that is today. That is Lunar Samhain. I won't repeat it, but please do take the time to be reflecting, and then also please do, try to stay in a grounded, sort of self-protected state while we go through this weekend, because it's very active. And now I'm going to talk about the activity of the coming weekend, which is, it's a lot, friends. It's a lot. Take it easy on yourself. Take it easy on other people. Okay. That's what I would say about this weekend. So this weekend, I'm going to turn and put on my glasses. First of all, tomorrow, very early in the morning, Jupiter forms a sextile, or culminates a sextile to Chiron. And we have been in this Jupiter sextile to Chiron for a little while. It is going to stick with us until the beginning of January, and then it's going to come back and help us for a couple more months next year. Jupiter is that benefic planet that really wants us to be, do, and have the bigger, better things we imagine for ourselves. And so, when we put in a little effort, Jupiter says, okay, here's some good fortune because I see you putting in the effort, right? So Jupiter helps us expand. It helps us grow as people. It helps us heal. It gives us reasons to have faith in the world and in ourselves. And it really just wants us to have more experiences so that we can be more well-rounded and self-actualized people. So Jupiter sextile to Chiron. Chiron is about the healing that we're trying to do. It's kind of about old wounds that aren't, that take a long time to heal, or that, we struggle with because we're not sure how to heal them. So, in this sextile relationship, this is an opportunity, really. Sextile is active, it's cooperative, it generates something positive. So I'm going to say that this is an opportunity to let us all see, let the world see how you've grown, how you've healed, how you've gotten bigger and better, right? So it's okay to, like if you've come to some realizations on your own that you want to be more like this, or you don't have to be like this, then now is the time to start enacting that. Now is the time to, do the less people pleasing that you've been thinking about doing, or to, to do the being more considerate and kind to people that you've been thinking about doing. We all struggle in both directions with that kind of thing. So, just to show, when we've done some healing, it's going to show in the way we treat others. It's going to show in the way that we act in the world. And it's going to, give us a bigger, better sense of who we are as human beings. So this is a really good opportunity to be showing that. And like I said, we're very protected right now. We're able to hold up this mirror to other people and say, okay, this is my part over here, but that part is you, So, by showing our own healing, we set a good example by just, enforcing boundaries where we haven't enforced boundaries before, or, by sort of letting down some boundaries where we had them and we find that we don't need them anymore. We set a good example for other people to be able to show the growth that they have been through as well. Okay, so that's a really positive one, and it's going to stick with us for quite a while. And then, also the sun is trine to Saturn today. So sun trine to Saturn. Oh no. Okay, my mistake. We talked about sun trine to Saturn before. It is still in effect for us. And so I'm just going to say sun trine to Saturn is, especially in regards to your sense of purpose and the work that you're doing in the world, how you show up in your work, social, and civic life. Sun trine to Saturn is like really, acting on what you're responsible for, acting on what you have committed yourself to, okay? Acting on the things that add to your actual material security in the world. And when you do, positive things, more security will arrive for you. So that is active in our field. But today what we have is Mercury doing a lot of things. Mercury is going to move into Sagittarius this afternoon around 2:17 p.m. That's Central Standard Time, friends. So adjust for your time zone. But before Mercury goes into Sagittarius, remember I told you we have this opposition between Mars and Pluto, and Mercury is going to aspect both Mars and then Pluto and then go into Sagittarius. Okay, so one of the things about that Mars Pluto is that they're both at the very end of their signs. Mars is at the end of Cancer and Pluto is at the end of Capricorn. And so that's really a time when they are the most potent and powerful in those signs. We're really seeing that Pluto and Capricorn stuff out there in the world. Like I said, all you have to do is look at the news. And we're like Mars and Cancer, that's a very frustrating feeling. And it's about emotional power and what we do with that, and sort of how it can tend to slow us down, but also how it can be protective of us. So we've got that water trine on our side, and Mars is part of that as well. So just want to say that Mercury aspecting both of these planets before we go into Sagittarius is really going to bring up some conversations. It's going to bring up some sort of desires to act. Okay, it's going to make us want to accelerate things. That Mercury aspecting both of them, but especially Mars, might make us want to act a little impulsively or speak a little impulsively. And we want to be careful about the forcefulness with which we speak right now, okay? A lot of this is going to come back to having control over our impulsive behavior, especially where it comes to how we feel angry and how we express it, okay? How we feel frustration and how we express it, how we feel rage and or disappointment even, and how we express that, right? It's gonna take something different. We're trying to transform this. We're trying to change the way we do this, because the way we've done it in the past, the way we're doing it right now, really isn't working for everybody, for a lot of people. Nobody really likes all this war and conflict, but here we are, somehow just accelerating every day, right? And it's unfortunate, but that Mars is going to be in conflict with Pluto through January at least. So this is something that we really have to struggle with, and I think it really starts on an individual level, right? It's like, how do I express myself when I'm angry, frustrated, when I'm full of rage, when I'm so sad about this, and not just how do I express myself, but how, am I acting? Expressing is the action that you take, right? So we want to be careful. We want to be careful about how we express those things, okay? Especially tomorrow, because Mercury, our thoughts, plans, and communications, is aspecting Mars and then aspecting Pluto, and they're in that opposition with each other before it moves on into Sagittarius. And then Mercury will move on into Sagittarius. And, Mercury was in Scorpio for a while. Again, the deep dive, again, the digging deep. Mercury is very investigative in Scorpio. It wants to look underneath and behind the apparent facts, and and get more information about the motivations, get more information about what's in the root system of this thing that is growing in front of us, right? So having been through that investigatory stage, now Mercury is going to move into Sagittarius, which is a fire sign. That's about what I'm going to do with the information I just gleaned, right? How I'm going to disperse it, how I'm going to deliver it, how I'm going to share it with the world, or at least how I'm going to use it to help me, again, grow into the bigger, better person I imagine myself being. So that's tomorrow. And then on Sunday, we have a lot more aspects coming up. So Sunday is the day that Mars culminates that opposition to Pluto, for one thing. So we've been in that vibe really for probably about a month now or more. But tomorrow is the day that Sunday is the day that it actually culminates. And so I would not be surprised to see more in the news about some conflict coming up, some warlike behavior, some aggression, and some complete transformation, especially of physical structures and institutions. Also, Venus is opposite to Jupiter. So this is another signature for too much, okay? Venus in opposition to Jupiter, these are both our benefics. They both want us to have what we like, love, and can't get enough of. They both want us to imagine what nice things we would like to see come into our lives. But in opposition with that conflict tension there, what you've got is a tendency to overdo it, a tendency to overcommit, a tendency to overstate your case, like in terms of loving something or wanting something, a tendency to overindulge in the stuff that we like, love, and can't get enough of, right? Those substances we use for relaxing or partying, that kind of thing, the foods we like to eat. It's definitely a thing for overindulgence, a signature for overindulgence, and just kind of overdoing it, overcommitting to whatever it is that we're doing. Okay, so especially with that vibe of conflict with the Mars and Pluto thing in the air, and then a tendency to overdo it, that really brings in, a lot of potential for overreaction, right? It brings in a lot of a potential for, like, I'm going to do this aggressive thing, or I'm going to do this assertive thing. I'm going to tell them how I feel. I'm going to let them know how angry I am. And then, because I gave myself permission to cut loose like that, there might be a tendency to cut loose a little too far, to be a little, over the top with my expression, right? So again, we just want to be careful about the way that we're asserting ourselves right now, because there is a tendency to overindulge as well. So, I might indulge in a little bit more like name calling or cuss words, or, just saying mean, spiteful things because I hurt and I want the other person to feel hurt. And really, we don't want to do that anymore. Okay. This is, punishing each other is no longer working for us. And I hope that that's something that we can take away from this overall Mars opposite Pluto transit. Okay. And then also today, Venus is trining Chiron, and then Mars is going to move on into Leo. And I say today, but I mean on Sunday. Okay. Venus is trining Chiron. So that is a really good opportunity to just think about what kind of healing we would like to receive, to call in, what we like. I know what is not working for me right now in terms of my body, in terms of my heart, in terms of my mind. I know what is not healed, and I know what kind of healing that I would like to receive. So that trine to Chiron just says, call it in, make yourself available to it. Okay. And that means make the call to the doctor's office, or, it's Sunday, so make the plan to call the doctor's office, that kind of thing. Or make the plan to call the therapist, or, make the plan to get out to the museum if that's the thing that heals you. Be ready, okay? Be calling in the positive things that you want to happen for you right now, because it is a bit of a struggle right now for some of us to act our best. And so, part of self-care is taking it easy on yourself, but it's also like giving yourself things that help you feel a little happier, a little bit more supported, a little bit more whole, so that the things that other people do can't affect us so strongly and make us want to act out, right? And overindulge in acting out. And then Mars moves on into Leo. So now Mars is getting ready to have a big retrograde, and I'm going to do an episode on the Mercury retrograde first, because that's coming up first. And then while Mercury is in retrograde, Mars is going to go retrograde. And so Mars is retrograde in Leo for a little while, and then it goes retrograde in Cancer for a long time. And then eventually it will go direct again. It'll be in Cancer still for a long time, and then it's going to move on into Leo again. So Mars and Leo, right now I would take advantage of that feeling that, our assertiveness is a little more able to get some fire behind it. Our assertiveness, like, we're able to take more positive action. We're able to be more generous. We're able to shine and show people our best selves, right? To give of ourselves in a way that is hopefully positive, that hopefully, feeds good nutrition and livelihood for the lives around us, because, nobody does this alone. We need the people around us to thrive as well. So when Mars is in Leo, we have a little more option to take action and have it come out in a positive way, rather than this frustration that we've been dealing with Mars and Cancer. So I just want to say, enjoy that while you can, because Mars is going to go retrograde in Leo in a couple of weeks here. Okay. So that is what's going on for the next couple of days. And I think that's probably enough to investigate at this time. I'm going to come back on Monday and I'll talk to you about Sun trine Saturn then, because it culminates then, and we'll talk about next Thursday and Friday what's going on with the stuff and things next week. And we'll do a show next week probably about the Mercury retrograde, or maybe about this big Jupiter sextile Chiron thing, because the Jupiter sextile Chiron thing is going to stick with us for a while too. It's a very positive, again, optimistic opportunity to show the ways in which we are growing and healing. Okay, friends, I think that's all I have for you. I know that was a long video. Truly appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't already, go ahead and like the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. That all helps me a lot. And if you're still here, please leave a comment below. Say hello to me so that I can say hello to you. Okay, friends, I'll see you in the next video on Monday.